Now on CoastTV News.
Safety notice signs along the Ocean City beach, why the Beach Patrol is continuing certain water restrictions. Chincoteague Island conditions, why the town is calling for help after Hurricane Erin's passing. Tragedy on the road, we have new details about a deadly New York tour bus crash.
And even though things are quiet, we have some additional rip current concerns. I'll update you on the latest coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
No swimming allowed along the Ocean City beach. Good evening, I'm Emma Aiken. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with the Ocean City Beach Patrol keeping water restrictions up in town. According to the Beach Patrol, people are only allowed to go ankle deep in the water today unless you are a surfer. But some beachgoers are ignoring those rules. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Zappe shows us why the restrictions are still in place.
Over the past week, Hurricane Erin brought rough waves along the coast. And according to the Ocean City Beach Patrol Captain Butch Arbin, they had to save 3 people who got caught in a rip current on Friday.
Had they gone swimming before we went on duty or after we got off duty, the headline would have been 3 die in Ocean City surf.
According to Arbin, the rip current is still strong due to the hurricane that passed, leading to swimming restrictions, except for professional surfers.
Friday, yesterday, and again today, we're restricting swimming to basically ankle deep.
Vacationer Mike Ouimet spent some time in the water today and believes the Beach Patrol made the right decision.
The riptide still feels pretty strong, so I think it's a smart idea. It's, not everybody's a strong swimmer, and some people don't know how to swim when they're dealing with riptide.
But not everyone is following the rules. We spoke with one Ocean City lifeguard off camera who told CoastTV it's been difficult regulating these rules to beachgoers, saying they've blown their whistles so much that people are starting to ignore it. According to Captain Arbin, people who don't listen to the lifeguards could face fines.
We just want people to comply, so that they're safe. It comes back to that, and sometimes people don't understand it.
And Ouimet agrees.
Better safe than sorry.
The Ocean City Beach Patrol will continue to monitor conditions before lifting the restrictions. I'm Kevin Zappe, Ocean City, CoastTV News.
Fenwick Island, Bethany Beach, and Rehoboth Beach all allowed people in the water today. Ocean City Beach Patrol Captain Butch Arbin says Ocean City lifeguards have 10 miles of beach to cover compared to the smaller beaches. And because of that, Arbin says the guards are more spread out along the sand. That's part of the reason why the town only allowed people to go ankle deep in the water today. In Rehoboth Beach yesterday, a teen swimmer was rescued from the water by a young beach attendant. Just before 9:45 a.m., the teen signaled for help. The young attendant quickly swam out with a boogie board, helping the teen stay afloat until lifeguards arrived. We're now taking a live look into Milford, and our first alert chief meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you, and we're keeping a close eye on what's happening with the rip currents right now. I want to piggyback on one of the stories we've had earlier. Listen, it is very unwise to not pay attention to those lifeguards, especially with the rip currents so active and still staying very active right now. Very unwise indeed. So our Rehoboth Beach, we're clear obviously right now. Everybody's batting down the hatches and inside for right now. And we have mainly just a chill in the air with temperatures in the 60s. We're at 63 in Long Neck, 66 Dagsboro, as well as Gumboro and Delmar. Now the winds are relatively calm for right now, but we have a rip current statement that's been reactivated for all of the coast from Lewis to Rehoboth, Bottom Hills, Ocean View, Fenwick Island until 8 o'clock Monday. And we've had a resurgence of concerns for rip currents for Ocean City all the way down towards Chincoteague as well. That goes along with the fact that we have small craft advisories in effect along the coast as well with 25-mile-per-hour winds. Coming up, we'll talk more about the concern for rip currents and a little more detail on why we should be really mindful of that.
Thank you, Paul. A coastal flood advisory is still in effect for parts of Delmarva, including Dorchester County. Water Street in Cambridge lived up to its name yesterday, as you can see from this video. Barricades were up at some entry points to the street, and several streets along the Choptank River in Cambridge saw flooding as well. Tidal flooding also hit Taylor's Island Road. This was the scene on Saturday just after entering Taylor's Island on the Slaughter Creek Bridge. Drivers heading through those areas of Dorchester County should be cautious. The mayor of Chincoteague is calling on federal officials to help protect the island from land loss on the heels of Hurricane Erin. Denise Bowden says the town has been advocating for intervention at the Chincoteague Inlet long before her time as mayor. Bowden posted this video to social media showing the state of the inlet while Hurricane Erin passed by Thursday.
It just got me fired up so much because the town of Shingatig has done everything that we can. We have beat on doors. We have been in talks with the Army Corps of Engineers. We have been to Richmond. We've talked to senators. We've had senators here. We've done everything, and we get nowhere. We get nowhere. The south end of Shingatig is slowly washing away, and it's all because of that inlet.
After closures throughout the week due to high surf and unsafe conditions, surf fishing drive-on crossings reopened in parts of Cape Henlopen State Park today. The Point, Herring Point, and Gordon's Pond reopened as of noon today following a post-high tide evaluation. Navy Crossing remains closed, but pedestrians can still access the beach there. Over at Delaware Seashore State Park and Fenwick Island State Park, drive-on surf crossings remained closed today. That's with the exception of 3 R's Beach. For articles ranging from bay flooding to the rough surf conditions and everything Hurricane Erin on Delmarva, head to CoastTV.com. Attention Milford drivers, the city says work is scheduled to begin this week. Crews have put message boards on Rehoboth Boulevard to notify drivers that construction on crossings will begin there. The city says to plan for potential delays and use caution. Staying in Milford, the land on your screen now will be the topic of a public hearing at Milford City Council meeting Monday night. Carlisle Lane LLC is proposing to build 39 townhomes on 4.5 acres of land on Truett Avenue. The Board of Adjustment previously granted approval for 32 variances, including changes to lot coverage, width, density, and yard size requirements. The City Council meeting is tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. The Blood Bank of Delmarva is continuing its Blood for a Brew campaign with blood drives at breweries and coffee shops across the region. The blood bank says summer is typically a hard time for blood collection due to school breaks and vacations. This week, there are some upcoming drives where donors can help save lives while enjoying a local brew or coffee. On Tuesday, Dogfish Head Brewery will hold the drive from noon to 6, and on Wednesday at Dogfish Head from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Friday, you can donate blood at Crooked Hammock in Lewis from noon to 5. Volunteers in Lewis took the time this week to turn the town teal. It's part of a national campaign to raise awareness for ovarian cancer. And as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month approaches in September, Coast TV News anchor Christina DiRoberta shows us the goal of Turn the Town Teal.
The symptoms of ovarian cancer,
whether it's bloating, whether it's difficulty going to the bathroom, feeling full quickly,
can seem small and easy to blow off, all while testing for the disease doesn't exist.
And that's why it's so deadly. Cervical cancer is found by a pap smear. There's no way at this point to detect ovarian cancer.
It's why Sally Oberly, Jan Gilmore, and a whole team of volunteers spent the day tying these ribbons around Lewis, turning the town teal.
I was diagnosed in 2013, and it was a surprise. I went directly into, I had surgery, and then I had chemo.
A survivor herself, Gilmore says the impact is wider than many might think.
It's not just women, it can be infants, children, teenagers.
The hope is that every teal ribbon can be the start of a conversation.
It's the visual to get people to talking. You know, what are those teal bows? And then when we have the packets that we hand out to the businesses, we have the brochures and other information to follow up.
A simple gesture with a big message.
It's not just Lewis. You'll find teal bows up around Milton, and volunteers are heading to Rehoboth and Dover this week to do the same. Continued back and forth between President Trump and Maryland Governor Wes Moore over deployment of the National Guard. The governor was on Face the Nation this morning to speak about why he will not deploy the Maryland National Guard after President Trump's request.
It's unconstitutional. It's a direct violation of the 10th Amendment. And if for a party that talks about state rights, it's amazing how they're having such a big government approach in the way they're conducting public safety. And I will not authorize the Maryland National Guard to be utilized for this.
This comes after President Trump called Baltimore, quote, out of control and crime-ridden on Truth Social this morning. We're learning more details about the people who were killed in a bus crash in upstate New York Friday. Among them is a 22-year-old Columbia University student. Dozens of others were injured. Jen Sullivan has details on what we know and the latest on the investigation.
Investigators are trying to figure out what caused a deadly bus crash in upstate New York Friday.
We were lucky. We survived, but it's just awful.
This is drone video of the bus after it flipped over, killing 5 people and injuring dozens of others.
Multiple occupants were ejected from the motor coach.
The crash happened just before 12:30 Friday afternoon in the town of Pembroke, east of Buffalo. The bus was full of tourists heading back to New York City after visiting Niagara Falls. 54 people were on board, including the driver and a tour company employee.
We have a tour bus with 52 passengers, mostly foreign speaking. We have people ejected and people possibly under the bus at this point.
Multiple agencies responded to the scene. Dozens of passengers rushed to the hospital with varying degrees of injuries.
This is probably the most trauma patients we've had from one incident in my career here in Buffalo.
Those killed were between 22 and 65 years old. The 22-year-old was a Chinese student attending Columbia University. A spokesperson for the university saying, quote, "This heartbreaking loss is felt deeply across our community." The community of Pembroke holding a vigil Saturday to honor those 5 victims. It's still unclear what exactly caused the crash, but law enforcement believe the driver likely became distracted.
It's believed the operator became distracted, lost control, overcorrected.
Authorities say it's too early to determine if charges will be filed. In New York, I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Still to come on Coast TV News at 11, deadly disease. We have details on a new sickness that's killed at least 6 people in New York.
And after we deal with some flooding, a real chill will come over us for the next couple of days. I'll explain to you and show you what I'm tracking coming up.
But first, the future of the Indian River Inlet after a week of wicked weather. We'll be back in just 60 seconds. Take a look on your screen. This flooding closed down Route 1 Thursday night just south of Dewey Beach. Meanwhile, on the north side of the Indian River Inlet, you can see major erosion. DENREC says right now, early erosion tests show at least 10 to 14 feet of dune has been washed away. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson shows what the future of the Indian River Inlet holds.
Lounging on the north side of the Indian River Inlet.
It's a beautiful day on Delmarva.
A wildly different scene than we got just 24 hours earlier. This was the north side of the inlet on Thursday as the coast was pelted by heavy waves and winds. While the sun was out today and the winds calmed down, what Erin stole from the coast is evident. Erosion ripping away huge chunks of sand and dune. Meanwhile, just a few miles north of the inlet on Route 1, Bayside flooding shut down the major roadway overnight. DelDOT says they will continue to monitor this area today and throughout the weekend to see if they possibly have to close Route 1 again. Now, if we take a look to my left, you can see where this water is coming from off of the bay here on Tower Road. And now as we get lower onto the road, you can see the consistent current pushing this water down towards the end of Tower Road. DENREC official Kathleen Bergen says Bayside flooding is unique to this storm.
This storm in particular just happened to have very strong winds that were driving the water into the inland bays.
Back to the inlet where local surfer Elijah Jones got a up-close look at the waves today.
Now they're huge. I couldn't imagine what yesterday was, because if it has to come up, if it can come up here and take all this sand away like that, it's got to be crazy. It's got to be huge.
It's not yet clear on how much it will cost to fix all this, and it's not clear yet where the money will come from.
We're working very closely with our lawmakers and our upper leadership to develop a long-term solution plan here.
While the sun is now shining down on Delmarva yet again, Erin has left more than just footprints in the sand.
DENREC says the Army Corps of Engineers is coming to the Indian River Inlet to do a beach renourishment event in September. Starting this evening, the U.S. National Guard troops deployed in Washington, D.C. will begin carrying firearms. That's according to a Defense Department official familiar with the planning. The weapons have been authorized for self-protection of the Guardsmen. On Friday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the authorization of roughly 2,000 National Guard troops to carry weapons. The troops were previously unarmed as they worked to support law enforcement. The State Department has paused issuing work visas for foreign commercial truck drivers. On Thursday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the increasing number of foreign drivers is, quote, endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods of American truckers, end quote. The Post did not give a further explanation for the decision. The American Trucking Associations expressed support for the State Department's visa pause this week, but it has previously acknowledged a driver shortage. Coming up later on Coast TV News at 11, from high school to a hardwood legend, Kobe Bryant's journey heads to the big screen.
The interesting thing about the advisories that we have right now is that, Erin is long gone, but we're still dealing with the residual effects of Erin in the form of coastal flood concerns, as well as still continual concern for rip currents. And the winds are still very gusty to the point where we have some small craft advisories. I'll detail all that coming up in a moment. But first of all, in Ocean City right now, we're coming in at about 73 degrees right now. The winds a little piddly 6 miles per hour, so the winds aren't necessarily causing a concern or problem. Now, we will drop down to the 60s by the 3 o'clock hour under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Cloud cover will have a mix of clouds and sun for the next couple of days, but the big deal will be how cool it's going to be, particularly after Monday. We're at 65 degrees not only in Milton, but also in Redden. We're at 65 degrees in Gumboro and 65 degrees right now in Millsboro. Winds are light, calm, 3 miles per hour, that kind of a thing. But we do have a newly issued rip current statement. This is talking about the fact that we have those rip currents that can pull you out deeper into the water than you could anticipate. Dangerous waves, okay? Some really high waves and all that kind of stuff, high surf and all of that. Just not advisable for you to ignore any kind of lifeguard that's telling you come in from the water. Don't ignore them. Don't ignore the lifeguards. Don't ignore the lifeguards. Okay? Remember, Theo from the Huxtables, he died from drowning because of rip currents. All right, Bottom Hills, Ocean View, Fenwick Island, and we have beach hazard statements still talking about rip currents from Ocean City down towards Chincoteague. Now, in addition to that, we have a small craft advisory, basically 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts, whipping around as well, and that goes along and separate from the rip currents. That's also a concern until 4 o'clock Monday morning from Ocean City down towards Chincoteague. And in addition to that, for the folks in Cambridge and surrounding areas, we do have flood advisory in effect for Dorchester, Somerset, and Wacomico. So flooding is still a problem as well, even though Erin is long gone. But we are going to stay clear from any kind of precipitation coming from the upper atmosphere. Winds are going to push primarily out of the west for tomorrow, directly out of the west with 83 degrees, pardon me, for us actually in Georgetown. Yeah, my brain doesn't work too good on Sunday night. Anyway, 82 degrees for us in Cambridge, and we're expecting 83 for the high in Snow Hill as well as Berlin. Now, also along the coast, 81 in Rehoboth Beach, 83 Ocean City, 81 Bethany Beach, 84 for the high with mostly sunny skies in Lewis. So we start off in the 60s. We end up in the 80s for Monday, all right? 70s along the coast. Then we start off cooler on Tuesday, 58, 59, 57 degrees, okay? 57 in Ellendale and Seaford, for example. Then we'll rise to we'll fall shy of the 80-degree mark. Now, we should be a lot higher normally for this time of the year. So we're going to be unusually cool. Just kind of keep that in mind. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Now, you'll notice we hit the 70s on Wednesdays, and we stay in the 70s after that. So it's not that we're expecting for it to be really, really cold, but it's not going to be all that hot during the day. But the UV index for the next few days in a row will be at a level of 8, which is at the low end of high, so low end of high. Anyway, we'll have a higher UV index, but it won't be sweltering.
A new warning now about the spread of a deadly disease that's killed at least 6 people in New York and made more than 100 others sick. And now concerns the threat could spread to other states thanks to some industrial air conditioners running full blast. Priscilla Thompson has more.
With hotter temperatures striking cities nationwide, A deadly bacteria is on the rise.
I started feeling a little lethargic. I couldn't do basic things.
Legionnaire's disease, a severe form of pneumonia, has killed at least 6 people in New York City since late July and sickened 112 more. Nunzio Quinto says he was hospitalized for days.
I was out 5 days later and with no energy and unable to do anything.
This is the largest outbreak that the city has seen since 2015. How did it happen?
This is the time of year when, unfortunately, the type of bacteria that we are worried about, Legionella, grows very quickly.
It grows in warm water and spreads through mist containing the bacteria that people inhale. The New York City Health Department has found Legionella in 12 cooling towers, which convert warm water into cold air for large buildings.
How many more cases are we seeing today compared to, say, 20 years ago?
Yeah, so we're really seeing an alarming increase of this disease. Within the past 20 years, cases have increased tenfold in the United States.
Cities in the Northeast and Midwest are reporting more cases as older infrastructure meets hotter weather, due in part to climate change.
A lot of people and a lot of buildings that maybe didn't traditionally have air conditioning units might be putting in these cooling towers. That would make a lot more people susceptible.
People over 50, smokers, and the immunocompromised are the most vulnerable. Symptoms include cough, fever, head, and muscle aches that, if caught early, can be treated, helping save lives. Priscilla Thompson, NBC News.
Still to come on Coast TV News at 11, tariff talk, why the cost of your next couch may be a little less comfortable. The cost of imported furniture may soon go up. President Trump announced in a social media post that his administration will launch an investigation into imported furniture. He says the investigation will take 50 days. Once it is completed, he says he will impose a tariff on imported furniture. He said the rate has yet to be determined. Trump wrote the move would bring the furniture business back to the U.S. Feels like COVID-19 is everywhere again. You're not imagining it. As Meredith Yamans reports, the CDC says cases are on the rise across the country, and Texas is among the states leading the nation.
With summer travel winding down, there's a new wave of COVID-19 just in time for school.
As kids go back to school, we're going to have to be very careful because COVID-19 will begin to spread.
The CDC estimates infections are growing in 24 states, including Texas, which has a positivity rate of nearly 12% compared to the national average of 8.9%. It says emergency visits for COVID are also up among people of all ages, with a noticeable increase in children under 12, though the CDC says the percentage remains low. Stephen Love is president of the DFW Hospital Council.
You know, I don't want people to panic. It's not the pandemic, but, you know, COVID-19 is going to be endemic. It's going to come back, and we're going to see it from now on.
Love says the current wave is fueled by summer travel, low vaccination rates in Texas, and the newer Stratus variant.
But I think with Stratus, it's since it's a variant and has mutated from the original, that it's going to be much more contagious.
Symptoms include sore throat, cough, fever, and headache. And while the wastewater viral activity level for COVID nationally remains low, the CDC says in Texas it's very high as COVID makes a comeback yet again.
A movie about legendary basketball player Kobe Bryant is in the works. The Warner Brothers will distribute the film, and it will focus on Bryant's journey to the NBA that began with the 1996 draft. It's called With the 8th Pick. At the time, the New Jersey Nets held the 8th pick in the draft and considered taking Bryant, but he was still in high school. Bryant later went on to win 5 titles with the Los Angeles Lakers and is considered one of the greatest players in league history. Bigfoot takes center stage. Believers flock to North Carolina for a legendary celebration.
And as things stay quiet above in Dover, listen, we have concerns for a small craft advisory. Your final look of your weather coming up in a bit.
Here's something you don't hear about every day. Bigfoot believers took over downtown Marion, North Carolina yesterday for the WNC Bigfoot Festival, which is the state's largest celebration of the legendary creature. The event started back in 2018, founded by the nonprofit Bigfoot 911. They are a group devoted to researching and celebrating all things Bigfoot. What do you say, Paul? Are you a Bigfoot believer?
Oh, I believe in Bigfoot because I pledged with him. My fraternity. The guy we lined up according to height, and the guy that's 6'7", we called him Foots because he had a 23 size shoe. I pledged with Bigfoot. He's a member of Omega Psi Phi. All right, let's take a look right now. We're at 70, dropping down to 69 degrees, and partly cloudy skies, actually. By the way, if you want to keep up with your forecast, call our weather line. The number to call is 443-880. That Foot story is actually a true story. We call him Foots. Anyway, your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by Brugstedt, Mandalas, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your 10-day forecast. Monday, a little close to the norm for this time of the year as far as the temperatures are concerned. But then after that, we fall way below the norm for us for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we'll have temperatures in the 50s in the morning time and to the 70s by the afternoon. And listen, we're going to stay below the 80-degree mark after Tuesday for the following 8 days in a row. So just kind of keep that in mind on how chill we're going to be.
Thank you, Paul. Looking forward to some of those cooler temperatures. And thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. We'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News starting at 5 a.m. Have a great night.